Did Apple fail at AI, or did their slow and pragmatic approach to bringing Apple Intelligence to the market pay off? We're we're about to find out soon as Apple has now officially unveiled all of its AI cards after introducing the new iPhone 16 yesterday at their Glow Time event. And in today's show, we're going to tell you what you need to know and also highlight 5 AI powered features from Apple that could change the way that your business does business. All right, I'm excited for today's show. But before we get started, have to shout out the Microsoft Work Lab podcast, our partner for today's show. So, why should you listen to the Work Lab podcast from Microsoft? It's because it's made for leaders who know that they must adapt to stay ahead. Work Lab is the place to find real world lessons and actionable insights to prepare you for the next phase of AI at work. That's WORKLAB, no spaces, available wherever you get your podcasts. All right, so make sure to go check out the Work Lab podcast. And also, welcome to Everyday AI. My name is Jordan Wilson, and I'm your host. And Everyday AI, it's for you. This is your daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter, helping you stay on top and stay ahead of everything AI when it comes to growing your business, your company, your career. So if you haven't already, please go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter. We bring you the daily news every day, fresh finds from across the internet, as well as recap our podcast for today. So before we jump into everything that you need to know about Apple Intelligence and the new iPhone 16, let's first hit on the AI news. So, a new study reveals that large language models can actually generate more novel research ideas than human experts. So, a new study from Stanford University has found that large language models can generate more innovative research ideas than experienced human researchers, signaling a potential shift in the landscape of academic research. So, in this study, 49 expert NLP researchers were recruited to come up with original ideas across 7 different topics. So, this one's pretty interesting in the findings here. But the large language model was also used at the same time to generate ideas on the same topics as those 49 human researchers, allowing for a direct comparison between human and machine generated suggestions. So findings revealed that LLM generated ideas were statistically more novel than those created by human experts, highlighting the model's capability to think outside of conventional boundaries. So pretty impressive there. All right, our next piece of AI news, a fun one from the entertainment world. So James Earl Jones has stepped away from voicing Darth Vader and has allowed AI to take over. Famed actor James Earl Jones, the legendary voice of Darth Vader, has transitioned from the role at age 91, marking a significant shift in the use of artificial intelligence in the film industry. So Jones has signed over the rights to his voice recordings to Ukrainian startup Respeecher, which specializes in AI voice cloning. The company utilized decades of archival audio to recreate Jones's iconic voice, ensuring Darth Vader remains a key character in the Star Wars franchise. So, since 1977, Jones' voice has defined Darth Vader, showcasing the lasting impact of his work on the franchise. Last but not least, in AI news today, about 60 countries have endorsed a blueprint for responsible military AI use at the REAIM summit in Seoul. So the recent summit in Seoul has brought together around 60 nations to endorse a significant blueprint for action aimed at governing the responsible use of artificial intelligence in military applications. So this development underscores the growing global emphasis on ethical AI deployment, particularly in military contexts. So approximately 60 countries, including the United States, have endorsed a non-binding document aimed at regulating the use of AI in military settings, highlighting a collective effort to address the ethical implications of such technologies. So the new blueprint emphasizes actionable steps, including risk assessments, human control and decision-making, and measures to prevent the misuse of AI AI in creating weapons of mass destruction. Notably, China was one of the main countries that did not support the document, reflecting significant geopolitical differences regarding the governance of military AI technologies. All right, we'll have a lot more on those stories and everything you need to keep up in our newsletter. So if you haven't, make sure to go to youreverydayai.com and sign up for the free daily newsletter. All right, let's jump straight into it and talk about what Apple just announced with their Apple Intelligence release. Well, this was technically the hardware side, but we did see some new Apple Intelligence features. So we're going to go over the 5 AI-powered features that we kind of got more in-depth look at yesterday at Apple's Glow Time event, and also give you some potential business use cases for them. So let's skip straight to the end, and then we're going to go through these one by one. All right, so here are the 5 main AI features. We knew most of these before yesterday. There's one brand new one that we didn't know about, but these are the 5 AI features that I think are going to be most used, both in the iPhone, and most of these will also be rolling out to Mac computers this fall. So here we go. Writing tools, number 1. Number 2, asking photos or videos. Number 3, focused summaries. Number 4, an improved Siri. And number 5, visual intelligence. All right. So now real quick, let's go over a quick recap of everything that Apple announced. All right, because it wasn't just iPhone, it wasn't just Apple Intelligence. That's not really the focus of today's show, but there were a few things that I thought were pretty cool. And most of these things, let's be honest, there's a lot of, they were dropping machine learning buzzwords, Apple Intelligence buzzwords for just about everything, right? So yeah, AI is coming to, all Apple devices. But let's do a quick recap here. So number 1, like we talked about, this was mainly for the iPhone 16, the 16 Pro, 16 Plus Max, 16, I don't know. There's all these different superlatives now that make it a, 16 Pro Max Plus Super. I don't know what it is. Anyways, you have your 16 Plus, I believe, and 16 Pro Max. Yeah, here we go. So the iPhone 16 pricing did actually not go up, which was surprising. So the iPhone 16 Pro starts at $999. Yeah, pretty pricey still. And the iPhone 16 Pro Max starts at $1199. Y'all remember the days when the phones cost, I don't know, $500? That was nice. But I guess inflation, right? So we can't complain. So this, the Glow Time event from Apple was really highlighted by the announcement of the different tiers of iPhone 16. And this is the first iPhone model where all Apple Intelligence will work out of the box. So for the iPhone 15 actually the iPhone 15 is split. So the more powerful models, you will be able to run Apple Intelligence as it's released in a software update. That's the key there. Presumably coming in iOS 18.1 or 18.2 later this fall. All right, that's a big key there. But all iPhones, you have to have either the new iPhone 16, the 2 more premium versions of the Apple 15. If you don't have those, you're not going to be able to access this new Apple Intelligence. So Apple, with a strong play here, essentially saying, rolling out all of these new features in their iOS, but saying, hey, the vast majority of our users, you're not going to be able to use this unless you upgrade. So this is an intentional play here from Apple. They're hoping they can get, what's called those kind of super cycles, right? When they hope that, everyone's going to be upgrading their iPhone to take advantage of these new features, right? Apple has actually seen 2 straight quarters of decline in terms of iPhone sales. And, generally, some studies have shown that generally people were on a 3-year update cycle for their iPhone, but it has changed recently to a 5-year cycle. So it seems like a very intentional play here that Apple is kind of saying, hey, you got to buy these new, more powerful iPhones that have this on-device large language model from Apple. More on that here in a couple of minutes to take advantage of everything that this new operating system has to offer. All right, so aside from that, we got new Apple Watches, bigger screen, thinner, using a lot of AI. I like this feature. It has sleep apnea detection, pretty cool. We saw new we have AirPod Pros. All right, a lot of new AI in there as well. Cool thing in there, apparently a clinical grade hearing aid, and you can do hearing tests. So very cool accessibility features that I think are actually, if I'm being honest, I think that's going to sell more AirPod Pros than AI in the phone is going to sell new iPhone 16 just because of the price, right? So pretty cool there. And yeah, obviously there's so many new, combining the hardware and software, so many different capabilities there. So we're not going to go into all of those, but this is about Apple Intelligence. All right, that's what today's show is going to focus on. And hey, have to shout out our live crew here. Thank you all for joining in. And if you're listening on the podcast, make sure to check out your show notes. Come join us live, right? Come network with other, AI leaders from across the globe. We always have people from big companies stopping by as well. So shout out to everyone stopping by. And hey, I want to know what questions do you have about Apple Intelligence, or if you're listening on the podcast, hit me with an email or hit me up on LinkedIn. Always keep that in there. But good morning to Michael, Gordon, Adam, Jay, Brian, Rolando. Got a good crowd. Fred, Zane, Raul, Kobe, Christopher. Everyone's here. Cool. Thank you all for joining us. So let's talk about the Apple Intelligence. That is what I want today's show about. And it is Hot Take Tuesday, y'all. So for our live stream audience, let me know, because I got thoughts. Right? So should I take it nice, right? Should this just be a informative session here for the next 15-ish minutes, or should I, bring the heat? So how many flame emojis? Should I be nice, or should I burn the Apple house down? Let me know. All right. So let's talk about timing here. This one's important. So most of these features are not going to be rolling out until October. Well, actually, no. That's the first features, right? So Apple said, oh, they're going to start to roll out next month, so October. And another important thing is this is all going to be in beta, right? So that means that this is not a finished product, and that's not normal either, right? Kind of features rolling out in a production environment in the new iOS. Presumably, we're going to be seeing it in 18.1. There's been some rumors that a lot of this might get pushed back until 18.2. But what is likely happening here is even if you buy the brand new, that $1,200 iPhone 16 Plus Pro Max Ultra Super, you're not going to be getting, right, when you open the phone and start it up, you're not going to be getting Apple Intelligence. You have to wait for the iOS update, like we said, presumably 18.1 or 18.2. So when you see all the announcements, iOS 18 dropping soon, that's not Apple Intelligence. All right. That's everything else in the new iOS. That's super important. All right. Hey, Raul said only one flame emoji, but Madan said 5. So maybe we'll have to land in the middle there. All right. So that's important. When you buy the new iPhone 16, if you are buying, and Apple hopes you do, right? Their stock did not respond greatly to yesterday's announcement, right? It was a little stagnant, but a lot of these features, and this is important as well when we talk about the timing. WWDC, so the developer conference that Apple has, where they essentially announced their software, that was back in June. So that's when, we essentially got 80% of this Apple Intelligence details back in June and, between June and now. So there are some new things, and we're going to be going over these, but Apple's stock did kind of rise nicely back in June. I believe they saw a, roughly 3 to 5% bump around the time of the announcement of Apple Intelligence. And now their stock, it was down yesterday, right? I think it finished about even, but that tells you like the sentiment out there from investors and the general public. We're not super impressed with both the new iPhone, the new hardware, and kind of the marrying of those two, right? That's what it's all about. The software and all of these new AI features, they depend on the hardware, right? Because Apple had to do a lot of very impressive engineering with their new A18 chip in order to run these small language models locally. That's another thing that we're going to talk about. This is Edge AI, y'all, and this is probably, yes, Samsung, Google, and others have brought out phones with on-device AI or Edge AI, and this part's pretty big, right? Because iPhone dominates the smartphone market. right? So have there been other edge AI or on-device AI? Yes, absolutely. But this is the first mainstream one because Apple dominates that market, right? And it's really not even close in terms of, iPhone versus everyone else. So Apple has been quietly sitting on the sideline. I believe we got our first mainstream, quote unquote, edge AI device about 9 months ago, right? When we started to see these from Google Pixel, in Samsung phones, I think S24. But this is a big shift, y'all. And let me just put this into a little bit of perspective and what this means. This is running a small language model, right? They're a little smaller. This is Apple's own model. You're running it on your actual device. So think of it this way. A lot of these features that we're going to be talking about, you can run them locally on your phone. It's faster, it's more secure, right? And even for those requests that require more compute, Apple has a private cloud to do that. We're not going to dive into that today, but essentially this is the first and the biggest splash for on-device AI. So you're running all of these things, or most of these things, locally, right? But we're not sending all of these requests to the cloud. That slows things down. It, in theory, makes things more expensive over time, right? So being able to do this on your phone is huge. And that is the big shift here. And that is why, as an example here, older iPhones or, older Samsung phones, older Google Pixel phones, they can't run these models locally, right? They need a lot of new technology to be fast enough to be able to process all of these requests. All right. So enough of that. Let's get straight into the 5 features, the 5 AI-powered features that, we saw more details on yesterday during the Glow Time event. So let's go over these, and I want to tell you some business use cases as well, because here's what I think. People have work phones, right? Yes, that's still a thing. Even though so much, can be done on the laptop, right? You can take phone calls on a laptop. You can text message on a laptop. So many people, millions of people here in the US still have work phones. I think with this announcement yesterday, Apple solidified itself as the de facto choice for companies who are still giving employees work phones. And I'm going to describe that as we go along here by giving you examples of 5 different business use cases across these 5 kind of new or improved AI features. All right, so let's talk about this. Number 1 is writing tools. All right. And like I said, as we go along, live stream audience, let me know if you have questions. All right. So let's talk about this first. Number 1, writing tools. All right. So here's the thing. This isn't anything new. All right. But having these writing tools throughout Apple apps and future third-party integrations, that's pretty big, right? But this is nothing new. So this is being able to, I have some slides up here for our live stream audience, but I'll try to, explain them. Pretty simple, right? So you can type something, you can highlight it, change the tone, improve it for grammar. You can, as you're typing, you can get suggestions, right? So if you've used a large language model, if you've used any, kind of GPT-powered writing tool online, this is nothing new, right? So many of these things that we're talking about, they are not new from Apple. So writing tools, here's some examples, right? And, this is going to be working in a lot of third-party apps out of the box. We don't have a complete list from Apple, but from their demos, it seemingly is going to work essentially wherever you can use your iPhone keyboard, which would in theory be just about everywhere. That doesn't force you to use a proprietary keyboard on a website, which some websites are like that. But essentially, this is going to work everywhere if you have the new iPhone. Also kind of included in this writing tools, a feature that I like is just being able to dictate voice notes and getting written summaries directly. And then, you can take those summaries and then using these writing tools. So let's talk about a couple business use cases here. All right. A marketing team can quickly draft and refine product descriptions on the fly. HR departments can use it to craft job descriptions that are clear and inclusive. Customer service reps can use it to improve their email responses, right? And here's the thing. Almost all of these AI features, I should have pointed this out, almost all of these AI features, except for the last one, that's why I saved it for last, will be available eventually on the new Mac OS operating system as well. So almost all of these AI powered features from Apple Intelligence will, we're talking about them and showing screenshots, anyways, from the iPhone event yesterday. But you have to think this is in technically their entire ecosystem, right? Because this will be rolling out to iPad and the iPad operating system as well. But when we're talking about the business use cases, think this is for those of you on Mac computers, on iPhones, right? That's me, full disclosure, right? I want to switch to Microsoft, I think, kind of soon. I've been waiting. We use Google for our Google Workspace and iPhone. So I've been waiting for like something better from Google. And I've been waiting all this Apple Intelligence from iPhone to see if I'm just going to switch to Windows. So stay tuned for that. So there's some business use cases for the writing tools. Nothing new or novel here. Again, hey, for those of you that said bring the flames, like Jay here with a 3-flame fire, and Jennifer as well. What took Apple so long? Seriously, just simple text improvements, right? I feel they could have, in theory, rolled this out a year ago, right? And they could have started to collect data sooner, right? That's what this is all about, right? And I understand what Apple is doing here because there's a lot more, that is required here, to be able to make this work, especially on an iPhone. But I'm wondering why Apple didn't release this on different Macs with the M chips a year ago, right? Because on the Mac side, on the computer side, there's a much wider compatibility list. It's essentially when Apple a couple of years ago switched over from Intel processors to their in-house M chips, right? So there's the majority of computers sold over the last 3 years are going to be able to run Apple Intelligence, where iPhones not so much. So I don't understand this. I feel that Apple should have released these simple writing tools a year ago. To all the Mac computers that could handle it, because they would have been able to collect so much more data and they would have been able to improve the product. But now it's kind of like, I feel they should have gone like soft opening style, because then they would have had probably, I don't know, trillions of data points, right, from people using this in Mac OS, these writing tools. Because I don't know about y'all, I hate typing. I hate writing on my phone, right? If you know me personally, if you ever get a text message from me or an email, it's not from my phone. I can't do it. I got fat thumbs. I can't type, right? So I think that's a huge miss from Apple. Yes, I'm not an Apple go-to-market strategist, but it seems like this is so old now, right? And Apple obviously was trying to play it up and dress it up nice and wrapping. I don't know. To me, not super impressed. All right, let's talk about number 2. In this, again, so many of these things I think are personal plays here, right? But you got to think on the business use cases of this as well. Like I said, if everyone's giving their employees iPhones, and let's just say, right, I know a lot of people that have, their work phone and then their personal phone. I don't know. If I have a work phone, now with these new Apple Intelligence features, I'm going to start taking way more photos, way more videos, because essentially you can instantly index everything, right? This part is huge, y'all. And this is why I think also the iPhones with the larger storage are going to be the ones selling, because you essentially have the capabilities here to have a visual large language model running locally on your phone for your business. So yeah, like Apple said, the example here, they showed, kind of talking to Siri and say, the kid's learning to crochet, right? And it goes through and it finds all these photos and, it identifies people, and then it puts together a little, slideshow or video. But let's think of the business use cases of being able to ask AI something about your photos and videos from a business perspective, y'all. I think it's wild. As an example, a real estate agency could quickly find specific property photos or videos from their vast collection. An event planning company can create visual timelines of past events to showcase their portfolios to potential clients instantly. A manufacturing company can use it to analyze product photos for quality control, identifying defects or inconsistencies, right? The use cases here are huge. I think, again, Hot Take Tuesday, y'all, Apple missed it here. They missed it, right? I think Apple wants to be, your personal private AI. And I think they did a good job of pushing, their private cloud and everything that, Apple Intelligence can you do for you personally. But I think they kind of whiffed on the professional side, right? Even with this example of, creating a collage, the kids learning to crochet with Aunt Fiona. Okay. How about, that conference recap, right? Or helping to plan next year's conference. Like, I think there's so many more practical use cases that Apple could have done in their marketing, and they're really just trying too hard to dominate the personal market. I think they're already dominating there. All right, let's go to number 3. And this is one I am personally very excited about. I will have to turn on notifications just to have this. Another thing about how I use my phone personally, it's always on D&D. If you text me, I don't hate you. It's just no one can text me. Everyone's on D&D except my wife. So if you text me, sorry, it's on D&D. I hate notifications. I love focused work. This could change this, all right? So let's talk about these focused summaries powered by Apple Intelligence. So essentially they are summaries. They are notifications prioritized by timeliness. So instead of, when you get a notification, there's usually a little preview, right? And I went through and manually grabbed some screenshots from yesterday's Glow Time presentation. So, you have all these emails or notifications, and you might have to open them up and read a lot just to understand what's going on, right? It could be a super long work email, a personal email with all these trips. So essentially this focused summaries just pulls out the information. It kind of tells you just what you need to know, right? And then it just delivers essentially think of it as an AI summary of that long text message or that long email. I love this. And then it also prioritizes them according to what is important for you. So more on that here in a minute when we talk about kind of this Siri integration. But essentially now the ability for Apple Intelligence to prioritize everything, it's according to your life. It knows your calendar. It knows your text messages. It knows your email. It knows if you have that deadline later today and someone emailed about a change. It knows when you have, that work event tomorrow evening. And if now you have to, do a presentation for it, right? It knows all that. And it's going to both summarize and prioritize those notifications accordingly. And I think that's huge. That's a huge benefit for work. All right. So let's talk about some of those business use cases here. So executives can quickly grasp the key points of numerous reports without reading them in full. Yeah, save time, right? Sales teams can get concise summaries of customer interactions and prioritize follow-ups. Project managers can receive summarized updates from team members, streamlining progress tracking, right? So many different things that you can do now with that. I think this is going to be big for business. Small feature, big for business. And speaking of something that's, I think, big for business, before we wrap up our list and go over the last two, have to give another shout out to our partner, Microsoft WorkLab. So let me tell you a little bit here. The WorkLab podcast from Microsoft is made for leaders who want to understand how work is changing, because effective leaders adapt. They stay ahead of trends. They embrace any edge they can get. They also know that AI-powered organizations will be better at spotting opportunities, creating new products and business models, and maximizing value. So for real-world lessons and actionable insights to help you stay ahead, check out the WorkLab podcast. The new season launches September 12th. That's WORKLAB, no spaces, available wherever you get your podcasts. All right, I'm excited about the new season of the WorkLab podcast, and we're going to have much more on that in the coming weeks. But let's get back to number 4, the number 4 AI feature that you need to know. It is an improved Siri. This is where I think it might be worth it, right? Even if you're not an iPhone person. Yes, we've seen some impressive, we've seen some impressive updates from Google. Their kind of Project Astra, their Gemini Live, right? All of these things. But when you can bring it into your entire ecosphere, right? When you can bring it all in an operating system that just works, right? That's the advantage here. Nothing here, if I'm being honest, Hot Take Tuesday, nothing here from Apple is new. Everything, some other company has either already announced this or they've already had it out for months, quarters, or more than a year. Apple is extremely late to all of this. There is nothing unique if I'm being honest, about what they announced yesterday. The unique thing is it is that Apple user experience where everything just works. And I hope the Siri, the improved Siri, can be there. All right, so here's what's new. Well, it's more personal to you because now Siri has all of this textual relevance. It has more nuanced and natural conversation. So, if you stumble while talking to Siri, it's not going to trip Siri up. You can also type to Siri now, which is kind of cool. Sometimes I can't sleep if I'm planning, tomorrow's Everyday AI podcast and I'm typing to ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude, and now I can type to Siri, right? So that's pretty cool, but here's the thing. It knows your calendar. It knows your emails. It knows your text messages and everything, right? So in this example, in the kind of the keynote yesterday, it's, talking, it's saying, oh, your mom's flight is arriving on September 9th at 4:35 based on an email that was sent. So you can, say, hey Siri, when is my mom arriving from her flight? It just goes through, looks at your calendar, text message, emails, and it just tells you, right? So this contextual awareness, obviously great for personal use cases, but for business use cases, y'all, this is what I'm actually excited about, but also scratching my head because we should have had this a year ago. This is not new. Hopefully Siri will be better, right? We've talked about this on the show. Even Alexa is getting powered in the future here by Anthropic Claude. We've seen Google with their Project Astra and Gemini Live, just this much more nuanced conversation. It's almost like we had technology too soon with these home assistants with, Alexa and Siri and what was Microsoft's Cortana and Ask Google or however you trigger that one, right? But if I'm being honest, for the last 3 years, especially since we've started, using this GPT and AI technology the last, 4 years, these AI assistants are dumb. They are frustrating. Literally, all I can ask my smart assistants now for is the weather. Anything other than that, I feel they're absolutely useless. So hopefully a new and improved Siri here will really help. So again, being able to understand your calendar, text messages, everything. So if you're running your business through an iPhone, through your Mac, because presumably this will be rolling out on your desktops as well. Like I said, it's a slow trickle starting in October. We're probably not going to see most of these updates until later in 2024. That is, if you are in the United States, right? Other countries, other languages, we're not going to see it start to roll out until 2025. And I think for all of this full Apple Intelligence suite that we're talking about here today, a lot of it's not going to be finalized until 2025, right? So keep that in mind. Huge grain of salt. But let's talk about some business use cases here for the improved Siri. I mean, this is huge. This, if it works, and that is a huge if, size 3.
Please try again.
Did you guys hear that? I swear I turned my SIRI off, but there it goes. It just talked to me. Did you guys hear that? I swear I turned that off. All right, but if you bring your business into Apple's iOS, into their Mac OS, if you have iPads, iPad OS, and being able to use this new smarter Siri. This is, in theory, a smart assistant that can actually understand what you want it to understand, which is the personal details of your life, right? Like generative AI, the biggest gains are those repetitive, mundane tasks, right? Sometimes I spend literally 10, 15 minutes looking for an email, even though I'm great at searching for them, right? And there's all these, Gemini AI in my inbox, which isn't very good, FYI, right? But you spend so much time throughout the day. You probably spend, let's just say, 5 minutes a day searching for something, right? Oh, what was that email, that in that PowerPoint, that text message, that calendar invite where, right? Probably at least 5 times a day. That's a half an hour a day that you're just wasting finding information. So if this works, this is big. Some examples. A busy entrepreneur can use Siri to manage their schedule. Customer service can use Siri to quickly access relevant information about a client's history, right? While you're live on the call with them, right? You can jump on the Mac if you're using all the Apple products. Sales representatives can use Siri to prepare for meetings by summarizing recent interactions with the client. Huge use cases if it works. All right. Marie and Monica heard my SIRI, go off there. Great. All right. Last but not least, and this one is the new feature. We did not see this at WWDC on June 10th. We did not see this when they kind of unveiled Apple Intelligence. So like I said, we got a lot of new details about those first four, but this one, number 5, is new. And it is more, at least as far as we know, it is more iPhone focused. So we don't know if these capabilities will be rolling out to the Mac. So I'm going to talk about this. This is a 2-part one, right? So one is camera control plus visual intelligence. So essentially on the new iPhone 16, so novel, a button. It's like a haptic button, right? So, so essentially, you can slide your finger and control the zoom, right? Think of it, it's just like a button you touch and it automatically brings up the camera, right? Wow, people lose their mind. Is it cool? Sure. Is that going to be helpful if you're taking pictures, of your newborn or a sporting event, saves you, which I get it. I've been there, right? You want to capture something quick. Oh, your phone's locked. You got to slide it, open the camera app if you don't have that as a shortcut on your home screen. So yeah, you might be able to capture more memories here, but I like, though, this is really for the visual intelligence, right? And that's really what Apple demoed and what I was at least most personally impressed with. So let's talk about this. Love this one. And this is, y'all, the US education system is broken when even Apple in their demo essentially says, hey, students struggling with your homework, use ChatGPT, right? Yeah. So in this example here from their Glow Time keynote, Apple essentially said, hey, you can press this new camera control button. It automatically is going to bring up, the camera. And then in this cases, it's going to prompt to ChatGPT. Right. So we don't know yet, right? So like I said, Apple has their own Edge AI, their own onboard. It's a JAX-based model, right? They built it that handles a lot of these queries on device for more powerful, I guess, queries, or for more queries that require more compute. They're going to be sent to ChatGPT. So you can enable that, I believe, to just always do it by default. Otherwise, it's going to prompt you each time. Do you want to essentially run this query in ChatGPT, right? And you're technically then sharing data with a third party. All right, all that. However, I just thought it was funny, right? Hey, even Apple is telling students, hey, don't do your homework. Just have ChatGPT and have this new feature, right? How quickly could you pull this out in class and it could solve your problem? All right. Yeah. But they did actually call out ChatGPT and Google by name with this new feature, which I thought was interesting, technically calling out two competitors, right? And yes, Apple collaborates both with ChatGPT and Google in ways, but, essentially calling out their competitors with this new visual intelligence. But here's the thing, y'all. This isn't new either. This isn't new. Having a large language model being able to look at a photo and use a type of AI-powered computer vision and be able to solve a math problem, or to be able to query something on the internet, or to be able to quickly take a photo of a poster in another language and tell you what it means, right? All these things, they've been out for years, right? In a lot of even ChatGPT, it's been out for, more than a year. So large language models, Google Gemini, this is old. This is old. So yes, this was the quote unquote new feature from Apple in their Apple Intelligence. Is it impressive? Yes. Am I excited? If I stick around on an iPhone, probably will. Am I excited to use it? Absolutely. It's nothing new. We've been able to do this. I've been uploading, photos pretty quickly and directly into ChatGPT all the time and other large language models on my phone. Nothing new. It's just, hey, the added benefit is it is now in this ecosystem of where you work. Similarly, you're another example Apple gave. You're walking around, you see a cool bike, and then you can, take a photo, and it's automatically going to bring up Google shopping results, right? So business use cases here, these ones I think are pretty big, right? So being able to, this is different than being able to ask photos, ask questions of your photos, right? Because that can essentially go through, dozens or hundreds of photos or videos already in your library. This is real time, right? You bust out the phone, hold that new camera control button and, get a menu for a restaurant, or, take a picture of a giant, chart at a conference and say, explain this to me like I'm an eighth grader, right? Things like that. So this is more in real time interacting with the world in front of you. All right. So some use cases here. A retail buyer can quickly gather product information and compare prices by scanning items in a store. A networking professional can easily add new contacts by scanning business cards. A restaurant manager can instantly update their digital menu by scanning and recognizing dishes from their physical menu, etc. Right? A lot of easy, low-hanging fruit use cases. But again, y'all, this is old. And here's the thing. There's already companies that I think have a better example of this. Google Gemini has a better example. OpenAI, well, this in the demo, at least, Apple is using ChatGPT, right? So that's already been out. And also Meta in their, Ray-Ban glasses, powered by Llama, I think way more impressive, right? I tried the Ray-Bans on. We actually did a giveaway and gave a pair of those away a couple of months ago to a lucky Everyday AI listener. Meta's already has a better version of this that's been live for months. So here we go again. Apple, extremely late. I think overall, subpar, if I'm being honest. All right, so it looks like we have one or two questions here. Let me kind of scroll through as we wrap up today's show. I promise I wasn't going to go too long here. All right, so someone asking here, can you do a show on Boomi products? I'll look that up. Marie asking, playing devil's advocate here, what happens when the power goes out and then some bad guys cut the cord to you and you don't have access to your phone? All right, so that's a good question. So in this case, though, again, this is a local model. So there is no cutting the cord, at least for some of the base Apple Intelligence capabilities that we have here. So thank you for that question, Marie, because I think it's important to re-emphasize here. So for the most part, how we've been using generative AI and large language models for the last 2 to 4 years, depending on how long you've been using it, it's the cloud, right? You're using, Midjourney or Runway or Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, right, etc. You're sending those to the cloud. So yes, someone can, in theory, in that time, cut the cord. What we're talking about today, so we don't know what queries are handled on Apple's Edge AI, right? So they're on-device small language model versus which ones are sent to their private cloud versus which ones are sent to ChatGPT or prompted you to send to ChatGPT. But a good majority, I believe, of the things that are contextually available on your phone, that is going to be the local model. And when you have a local model, there's no cord. There's no cord to cut, right? You don't need internet. There's no external service. Like I said, you can be on an airplane on airplane mode, no Wi-Fi, no signal, turn off your Bluetooth, right? It works on its own, right? So many of these things are going to work on their own. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly recap. Here are the 5 AI features that I think can change the way that you do business. Number 1, the writing tools. Number 2, being able to ask photos and videos. Number 3, focused summaries. Number 4, an improved Siri. And number 5, the new camera control button and visual intelligence. So that is a quick recap of what is new and what is coming as Apple Intelligence rolls out with this new iPhone 16 release. Like I said, it is, according to Apple, going to start to be rolled out in October. So if you buy the iPhone 16 right away, you're not going to have access to most of this Apple Intelligence that we're talking about. It's going to be coming in either 18.1 or an 18.2 iOS update. All right, that is it, y'all. I hope this was helpful. But let me just say this. Let me wrap it up, give you a little hot take. Not impressed, if I'm being honest, right? Am I excited to use this? Sure. But this is old. I do think Apple, yes, I get their cautious, pragmatic approach. They never want to be too early. They want to get it right. They want to slap, their Apple logo on artificial intelligence, literally, and call it Apple Intelligence. I mean, come on, right? Am I excited to use it? Absolutely. Are there great business use cases? Yes, hands down. That's why I went over the business use cases. So, but is this something that Apple is now going to all of a sudden start selling way more iPhones like they hoped? I don't think so. I think there are already too many good options out there. So I don't think this is going to change the way we do business. I don't think this is going to change personal AI because we've already had access to this for a long time. However, this will be, you have to call this out. This will be the first time that billions of people around the world, like we said, in Mac, right, on the computer side, so many of the devices over the last 3.5 years will have, actually it might be 4 years, will have access to Apple Intelligence out of the box. So you won't need to buy a new $1,200 iPhone. So I do think that this will be the first hands-on relationship that maybe billions of people across the world have with artificial intelligence and generative AI, right? I think sometimes I live in a bubble, but this will be the first. So you can't understate how this is going to change the future of work, even though I don't think it is a game changer. All right. If you haven't already, please go to youreverydayai.com. Check out our Thanks a Million giveaway. Enter it. We're going to be wrapping it up this week. So if you want to win a year of ChatGPT Plus or Gemini Pro or whatever your favorite generative AI tool is for that monthly subscription, you don't want to pay it, we'll pay it for you for a year. Go. Sign up for the Thanks a Million contest. You're going to get a referral link. Send it to your friends. Get them to sign up if you find this helpful. Go to youreverydayai.com. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.